Ben, are we just waiting for Donna?
Yes.
Okay. Chuck Zibble will be unable to join us today. He did reach out. He had a family emergency that he had to tend to today. Ben, did you have confirmation if Donna will be joining us?
I did not talk to her about the meeting specifically, but we did discuss the budget in advance. So I believe she had the intention to be here.
Okay. We'll give her 2 more minutes and then we'll get started.
Is that water or vodka?
Plead the fifth. Gatorade.
Gatorade.
I just texted her to make sure she was coming.
Okay.
Brandon, can you hear us okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Super.
Okay, great, thank you.
Well, it looks like it's about 5 after 4, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's call today's Board of Trustees meeting to order at 4:05 p.m. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Belkowski,
Present.
Martin. Martin. McNamee,
Martin's here.
Mantrella,
Here.
Schiavone,
Here.
Sheets,
Here.
Spence,
Here.
Zibble.
Yes, thank you, everyone. If we could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. And Mr. Schiavone, would you be interested in reading the mission statement?
Sure. LAKETRAN is committed to providing quality public transportation services to all Lake County residents with special emphasis on meeting the transportation needs of seniors and people with disabilities.
Thank you very much. Are there any public comments, Ben, in any virtual room or at headquarters?
We have not received any comments in either format.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the LAKETRAN Board of Trustees Board meeting minutes of November 23rd, 2020?
So moved.
Second,
Motion made by Ms. Spence, seconded by Mr. Schiavone. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
Mantrella,
Yes.
Schiavone,
yes.
Sheets,
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Is she there? McNamee,
Okay. Thank you, Donna. That was the approval of the minutes. And we were just doing a vote. Can you hear us, Donna?
Make
Okay.
sure her mute is off.
We can't hear you, Donna.
Well, it looks like Donna's working on some technical issues at the moment. Ben, were there any presentations today?
No, there are not.
Okay. So just recently, I sent everyone an invitation to an executive session. And at this time, is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Schiavone, seconded by Mr. Sheets. Could you please take a vote?
Martin,
Yes.
McNamee, Montrella,
Yes.
Schiavone,
Yes.
Sheets,
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, if you could please do as we've done in the past and leave this Zoom, go to the other Zoom for executive session, and then we will return back to this Zoom after the executive session. Thank you.
Mr. Falkowski, can you resend that to me? I don't believe I received that previously.
Oh, my apologies. I might have left you off.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thanks.
Unmute my speaker. I have unmuted.
There, we can hear you now, Donna. But now you got to go to the other Zoom.
I don't get it.
Can you hear us? Well, you got to go to the other Zoom, Donna. Denny, oh, there you go. Donna, if you can hear us, you got to go to the Zoom link that Brian just sent out. Can you hear us, Donna? Donna, can you hear us?
Dang it.
Donna, if you can hear us yet, you got to go to the other Zoom. You got to leave this one and and go to the executive session one that Brian sent an email about. Can you hear us? Can you hear us yet, Donna? Hello again.
Hello. Hi, Ben. Donna was able to join us for the very end, but she still seemed like she was unable to hear us.
Yeah, I had the same experience in our meeting while she was here.
Okay.
I may have Tony try to give her a call real fast to see if he
Yeah. Everyone else's stuff is working fine, so I believe it's on her end.
He is dialing his phone right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony and Ben.
I'm back. I think.
You are back.
Okay.
I'm here.
Welcome back.
This is Denny. Am I back?
You are indeed. Looks like we have everybody, Brian, except for Donna.
Okay. Do we want to do our start with our financial statement presentation?
Should be good now.
All right, so our financial.
Button. Your microphone.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Excellent.
Okay, so our financials for October of 2020, our actual operating revenue for 2020 is $23,611,601 versus the budgeted $18,204,149. Again, my notes are pretty much the same. I just tried to update them for the dollar amounts. Our new sales tax levy revenue has generated about $4,962,136 through October. And then obviously since COVID-19 started, there were no fares charged from March 25th to September 30th. And then our one-time CARES Act federal funding, I believe I mentioned this last month also, we have completely earned that through September 2020, and that total is $6,294,415. Okay. And then this just kind of shows the graph. I did include 19 actual just to kind of put in perspective, but 20 and 21 will be quite different than 19. And then our year-to-date expenses for 2020, they're $14,769,065 for 2020. And our budgeted number was $14,351,732. Again, my notes at the bottom, the 2020 budget did not include dollar amounts for the original organizational chart approved by December of 2019. And the 2020 budget was prepared in October and presented in November and passed in December. Spending is less in 2019, well, that should be 20 because of the shutdown due to COVID-19 for approximately 2.5 months. And the increase in health and property and casualty in 2019, we had some one-time payments. So those made the insurance look a little bit higher in 19 than in 20. And this kind of just shows the expenses, the budget versus the actual. And then as far as capital, through December 2020, we're estimated to spend about $31,788,961 for our federal, states about $2,470,000, and our local share is about $15 million. Again, I'm going to highlight that headquarters, some of the headquarters funding is included in that local share, and that's why it's a little bit higher, which not much change from last month. And then our cash balance in total for 2020 is at $22,372,640. And I have it broken out by operating, capital, and then STS. And last year it was at $15,706,000. But again, the difference why it's higher is because of the CARES Act funding, and then of course our additional sales tax revenue. And then that would be all that I have for October 2020 financials. Unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Any questions for Lisa? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the financial statement for October 2020, subject to audit?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Savoni, seconded by Ms. McNamee. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
McNamee,
Yes.
Montrella,
Yes.
Scivone,
Yes.
Sheets,
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Ben, the board calendar, is there anything you would like to say about that?
You'll see a copy of the proposed calendar in your board packet. There is nothing really special to note about next year's proposed meeting dates. The only thing not on here is if we decide to have a retreat a little bit later in the year, that date has not been established. But other than that, it's a pretty normal proposed bunch of meetings.
Thank you. Any questions for Ben on the calendar? Is there a motion to approve the 2021 Board of Trustees meeting schedule?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Scivone, seconded by Mr. Montrella. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
McNamee,
Yes.
Montrella,
Yes.
Scivone,
Yes.
Sheets,
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. And at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Ben. Is this going to you or Lisa for the budget?
We have a brief, recollection presentation, just as a quick reminder that Lisa can
Yes.
go through.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole budget presentation like I did last month. I'm just going to do the highlights. And those are right here. Our operating revenues are projected for 2021 to be $24,696,000. We're projecting the operating expenses to be $22,405,400, leaving a net income before depreciation of about $2,290,600. The proposed capital budget is projected to be $8,716,562. And our STS budget is projected to be $117,000. We're pretty much just leaving that the same as last year. We're not sure where that's going to be because of the COVID. And then this just kind of summarizes the operating revenue to show you where our revenue is coming from. We're projecting our local tax levy fund sales tax to be $19,156,485. Miscellaneous, $213,500. Contract revenues, including Lakeland, that would be any of our DD and our medical trips for JFS, $1,116,500. Regular normal fares charged for getting on the bus at $838,340. Federal grants to help out with capitalized maintenance, $1,558,100, and state grants, which is also for E&D, help out with capitalized maintenance of $1,813,075 for a grand total of $24,696,000. And our expenses are broken out. I lumped wages and benefits together. It's about $16,679,900. Utilities and insurance, about $714,000. Services, $1,760,000. Purchase transportation, about $309,500. Supplies, around $2,582,500. Supplies does include fuel, so that's why that number's higher. Miscellaneous expenses, $359,500 for a grand total of $22,405,400. And then this right here, the board's not being asked to pass. This is just for your information to kind of project out from 2022 to 25 what our projected capital budget. The amount we're asking is only the amount for 2020, which is the $1,716,562.
So that is basically it for our quick refresher. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board have. I know several of you reached out to me and we talked about it in advance. So the theme for this next year and the next, several years is going to be sort of, just a continuous sort of maintenance mode. There's no, major projects in here. There's no sort of major activities. This is just sort of a keep on going the way we are going now.
Any questions for Ben or Lisa? Is there a motion to approve the 2021 operating and capital budget and a resolution approving the 2021 STS operating budget?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McNamee, seconded by Mr. Schiavone. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin,
No.
McNamee,
Yes.
Montrella,
Yes.
Schiavone,
Yes.
Sheets,
No.
Spence.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is, Ben, we're going to talk about permitted banks.
I'm actually going to turn this one over to Lisa.
Yes, once every 5 years, we just put a publication out announcing or requesting for banks to assist in just public depositories. We've been with Huntington for a very long time, and actually it used to be First Merit. And then we also opened up a few years back the Lake Erie Bank, or CNB National. So we posted that in the News Herald. And again, we only had Erie Bank and Huntington Bank who sent us a request. And that's who we basically bank with in our operational functions. So that's what we're asking to pass. If somebody else should want to participate and we would want to use them, we would bring it back before the board for their approval before we can use them.
I don't know about anybody else, but I don't own a bank, so I think we're out.
Any other questions on this one? At this time, is there a motion to accept the resolution for the designating the eligible institutions as public depositories for active, inactive, and interim monies of LAKETRAN for the period commencing January 1, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2025?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Sheets and seconded by Ms. McNamee. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
McNamee,
Yes.
Montrella,
Yes.
Schiavone,
Yes.
Sheets,
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to, it looks like, Ben, is this going to you or Keith?
This will be for Keith.
Keith, I will turn it over to you to talk about the Deepwood vehicle detailing.
Okay, in January of 2020, we went to the board and got approval to enter into a contract, a one-year contract with 2 one-year extensions with Deepwood to perform our detail cleaning on the buses. The one-year contract, the first year of it expires in January of 2021. Detail cleaning gives the first impression to our customers of our buses, our clean buses. Detail cleaning includes the thorough cleaning, the nooks and crannies that don't get done on a daily basis, the instrument cluster, the controls, the cup holders, the windshields, the dashes, the tie-down tracks for the wheelchairs and around the wheelchair lifts. Our LAKETRAN'S vehicle service team, our employees still perform the tasks of daily cleaning the bus, which is washing the interior, sweeping, mopping, fueling, checking fluids, and the revenue collection of our buses, along with the disinfecting now. So in the spring of, as a background, in the spring of 16, LAKETRAN started exploring options for vehicle services. The cleaning wasn't getting done to LAKETRAN standards. We had to do them in a 10-day rotation because of staff size, often not fully staffed in the department. And when it was done in the fueling areas, which just congested everything back in that area. In the fall of 2016, Deepwood gave us an alternate proposal for cleaning. It allowed the training and employment opportunities for adults who have developmental disabilities. And it also allowed a more frequent cleaning. Instead of a 10-day rotation, the dial rides were done in 5-day rotation, commuters every 3 days, in-county fixed route buses every other day. So we got a better product than we were doing in-house. And the detail cleaning was able to be done during the day, freeing up the fuel lanes for the daily cleaning by LAKETRAN employees. So LAKETRAN and Deepwood negotiated pricing for the service. The board approved the contract in 2017 for the detailed cleaning of our buses. After gathering information and data for a year, CES reevaluated the staff size needed. They reduced their cost because they could reduce the staff size they needed. The LAKETRAN board approved extensions for both 2018 and 19. These expired in February of 2020. So we went out and put it back out for procurement for fleet detail cleaning. 2 proposals were received, First Transit and CES. CES won the bid. They're responsible, and we had a history with them. They are not increasing their prices, even including 2022. You can see in the chart, you know, it's $320,000 plus compared to $84,000. Like I said, Deepwood has performed this work well for us in the past. Deepwood's mission statement is employment opportunities for adults who have developmental disabilities, teaching them the skills for hands-on work experience. We throw in a couple pictures of the crew that's currently cleaning our buses. So in conclusion, the contract with Deepwood for detail cleaning is cost effective for LAKETRAN while simultaneously benefiting our community partner Deepwood. Use of vendor has increased LAKETRAN'S efficiency and helped improve the customer experience, and absenteeism does not affect the cleaning of our buses because Deepwood manages all that. So our recommendation is approval of the attached resolution authorizing the CEO to renew the contract with Deepwood for fleet interior cleaning for 1 year at a cost not to exceed $84,000. Any questions?
Yeah, Denny's here. Yes. What is the primary difference in the cost structure of the 300,000 compared to 84? Is that the cost of what they have to pay their salary folks to do the work?
My personal opinion, when they bid it, they were trying to come in and take over the whole operation. It's a business where they're trying to make a profit, and First Transit is very much number driven, in my opinion.
The other reason is the way Deepwood assesses the wages of their employees is based on their skill level. So each employee has an individual wage rate that is paid by Deepwood based on the skills that they are able to do. One of the benefits of the program is that the job coach who manages the employees, we do not pay for. Deepwood pays for that. So essentially, the management of this program and those employees is free to LAKETRAN. So in the First Transit proposal, there is management fees in there for a supervisor, which we don't pay for, and they pay, a higher wage rate to their employees. And we don't know the exact wage rates they pay to their employees because of the different cares and services they provide. So Denny, the general reason to view the difference is labor costs.
Okay, and I understand. I assume that. My only thought would be, I don't want LAKETRAN to pay more than what they need to pay, but at the same time, I don't want to take advantage of a group like Deepwood, et cetera. So, but that's fine.
They actually are happy with this price. They came to us originally and said, hey, we don't need quite as many people as we thought. This is the dollar amount we would propose to you. So this wasn't necessarily us kind of aggressively pursuing a lower wage with them. I mean, we always, pursue the lowest price we can get, but this is a partnership. And one of the things that's different about this is part of the product we get is the fact that the folks that are doing this are getting fulfillment and, sort of being part of a normal workday. It's not as much for the people working. It's not as much about the dollar amount for them. It's about being, that ability to be productive and part of society and sort of be treated as normal as possible.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. And that's a real plus. Thanks, Ben. I'm good.
Ben, may I interject something else here?
Sure.
Denny, we also have to recognize that the folks who are staffing this may also be receiving like government benefits for healthcare and so on. And then that does tend to restrict the amount of money that you can earn in order to keep benefits that they very much need otherwise. And Ben is absolutely right that because of the programs that organizations like Deepwood run, they are able to, under this umbrella, work with their community partners to help employ the people who are working the contracts that they receive. And it does a tremendous amount for them above and beyond the monetary gain. So it's really a wonderful program, and it's my hope someday that things will continue to evolve, that these contracts will be able to go higher, because I have worried through years about the same thing you just voiced, that we would never want to be viewed as taking advantage in any way. But it is what it is, and it's been in existence as a program for a long time. And I know they are very grateful for this partnership with LAKETRAN.
Thank you.
Hey, Ben, this is Lane. Is there another company besides First Transit that does this kind of work?
There are other companies that do this kind of work. We did not get bids from them. But yes, I'm trying to remember. I think MV Transportation Services does work like this in Veolia, but neither one of them chose to bid on this.
Oh, okay. Because I thought we should get another bid just to compare bids. I see nothing wrong with the program. I think it's great that they're willing to do this for that amount of money. That's a 4-to-1 savings there. But I just wanted to, we don't want to look like we're taking advantage of it. On the other hand, if we had another bid, it would at least, we'd be able to make I'm not sure, a better decision on it, because it probably would be around the same amount of money. And I understand why. And I think it's great that Deepwood does it. And I agree with all the other reasons that go along with that. And the people over there are wonderful. I was involved in that many, many years ago with a daughter. So they do a wonderful job.
I'm sorry, this is Dale. Just as a side note, when I was at ODOT, we use a similar type service to do our district office. It's really a win-win situation for the community.
Yeah, Lane, we did reach out to those companies as part of the procurement process, and they just chose not to bid. They didn't give us a reason, but yeah, we tried to get some additional quotes, but they just weren't interested in the work.
As long as we've done, our due diligence, and we have, so that's fine.
One nice thing I think about it too is the Deepwood population, if you will, they also are LAKETRAN users. So I think that is another plus there, that they recognize the importance of what LAKETRAN does and what they do. And I'm sure that makes them feel very proud and a part of LAKETRAN in the community.
Yeah, and we work hard to make them feel like any other employee here. They eat their breaks in the same break rooms our employees eat in. They have LAKETRAN uniforms they wear. We give them the same treatment when we have our employee appreciation days. So we really try to, make them part of the team just like any other employee here and treat them no different. And so That's something we work very hard at, and I think we've been pretty successful at so far.
I
And
didn't
that's
know you
all
were
good.
doing that, Ben. That's super.
Excellent. At this time, is there a resolution authorizing the CEO or his designee to exercise a one-year renewal of the contract with Deepwood Community Employment Services, providing for fleet interior detail cleaning?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by, I think, Mr. Sheets and seconded by Ms. McNamee. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
McNamee,
Yes.
Mantrella,
yes,
Savoni,
Yes.
Sheets,
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Ben for the 6-month look ahead.
Yeah, so on page 61 of your packet is the 6-month look ahead. There's been a couple changes this month. So, January, we have the election of officers. We will have a presentation on the results of a NeoRide survey that's conducted by the Cleveland State University. This was funded by an IMI grant, which is an innovation grant from the FTA. So they'll be talking about the results of that survey. I've added an approval request to replace one utility vehicle. One of our 2013 Chevy Impalas was totaled while in service. It was T-boned. Luckily, there were no injuries, but the vehicle is a complete loss. Will be paid for. Its replacement we are in the procurement process right now. It will be paid for by 100% insurance proceeds, so they cover the full cost of the replacement vehicle. And then we need to do an update to the NeoRide bylaws. So currently, all agencies that participate in NeoRide are required to approve a bylaws change of NeoRide. That was created when NeoRide had 3-member agencies. We now have 15, and so it is very unwieldy to try and make any adjustments to the bylaws. So the corporate legal counsel for NeoRide has recommended that the agency members cede that authority back to the NeoRide board to allow for a more efficient governance structure. I know that's a really exciting action item.
sorry about that. Someone called.
For February, we'll be doing a presentation about propane versus diesel, sort of just the results, experiences, just interesting information. We'll be seeking approval for the uniform contract. This is a routine rebid process for our driver and mechanic uniforms. In March, we have a request to approve landscaping for all our sites except for headquarters. You'll see in April, I moved the request to approve the HQ project to, at the earliest, September of 2021. Obviously, that date could still change, but in light of the changes we've talked about at previous meetings and the increase in the expense, we would like to spend more time trying to find alternative funding sources and refining the design. So I felt it was best to delay that project for now so that we can have more time to work on the project. So at the earliest, you would see it September 2021. It could get moved again, but for right now, we thought this delay was best. We don't have any action items proposed for May at this time. And in June, we will be seeking our routine authority for federal grants. So that is kind of my 6-month look ahead. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you very much, Ben. And then we will continue along with the administrative reports.
Yeah, so I will start off with my report. I have a couple things to talk about that you should have seen in your packet. Which first off is we are working on a updated and better employee recognition program. So we have a program that recognizes employee safety performance, which we've had in place for a very long time. It's actually negotiated in the collective bargaining agreement. And we do a lot of work around, promoting safety and recognizing safety. But we don't do as good of a job as we could at recognizing other employee milestones. One of the great things about LAKETRAN is that, most people tell us when they come here, they say, I wish I should have been here longer or sooner. and they stay for a long time until retirement. And so with as many long tenured employees as we have, I think we need to do a little bit better job recognizing some of those milestones. So, we have a lot of employees that have been here for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. So we are going to do, we're going to create a better program to sort of celebrate when employees make those milestones with us. And that's something we are working on right now. And that, will probably involve some internal and external recognition. A person that I know the board has seen in the past, at least a lot of you, is, Lee Ramey. He's our most senior bus driver. He has worked here for 33 years and he's never had an accident. And so, that type of recognition, we think we'd like to do a better job at sort of expressing to other employees in the agency and to the public. Another thing that has been kind of going on behind the scenes is NOACA's regional strategic regional transit plan. So for those that don't know, NOACA is the metropolitan planning organization for the Cleveland region. That stands for Northeast Ohio Area Coordinating Agency. And their job is to coordinate, projects in the NOACA region. I know Dale is intimately familiar with NOACA. They recently decided to conduct a strategic plan for transit in the region. And they have released a draft report. As soon as I have the final report, I will send it to all the board members. I asked if I could send the draft report. They said they would prefer for it to be finalized first. But I wanted to give you guys a couple of kind of key takeaways. And those are really, the plan began in July of 19. We just received a draft in 2020. NOACA reached out to me and Commissioner Hammercheck during the project. He is one of the vice chairs of NOACA, and he will become the president. I can't remember if it's next year or the year after, but the overarching response from the survey or results are, NOACA believes that increased regional cooperation and coordination is important for transit in the region. LAKETRAN came out it was sort of an evaluation of how well we coordinate and then how well we could coordinate. We were viewed very highly. We have some very sort of high quality coordination efforts that we have undertaken over the years and some pretty recent ones, which, we were looked at as a little bit of a model for coordination in the region. There's an excerpt from the study that basically, the work we do with RTA to make sure we coordinate at our our western border with RTA is, pretty extensive. We spend a lot of time and effort making sure buses line up, the transfers work together, and that we really, it is a seamless process from east to west. These are some of the recommendations of the plan, and I'll send this to you. This is kind of a lot on one slide, but, overall, again, LAKETRAN was viewed very positively. And, some of the things that we are doing were sort of recommendations to further in the region. Our service to the University Circle area with Dial-A-Ride, it was very positively viewed, giving Lake County residents, medical access. And then, all of these sort of other actions, which again, I said I will send to you. So these are the really sort of important takeaways for LAKETRAN. Number one, we are doing a better job than our neighbors at coordination, just sort of hands down. We do a better job coordinating with RTA than any of the other transit systems in the region. We just sort of work well. There is a possibility that we could do more to support Geauga and Ashtabula as far as potentially operating their services in both counties using their funding. That is sort of a topic that has been proposed by ODOT in the past, and obviously would require a significant amount of additional discussion if it were to move forward. And the study also suggests that we should provide service to University Circle. I kind of wanted to give the board a sort of overview of how I have managed our, regional efforts. For those that don't know, Grace Gallucci, who is the CEO of NOACA, used to run the RTA in Chicago. And in Chicago, that RTA is not an actual transit system. It's sort of an umbrella agency that manages the 3 transit systems in the region. So there's the CTA, which is the downtown Chicago buses. There's PACE, which is the suburban bus service, and Metra, which is commuter rail. So that RTA governs those three organizations and doles out funding. Grace has always sort of thought of NOACA in the same way and has always pushed for a more regional control of transit systems, which in the past has been a little contentious. Being in this panel with Commissioner Hammercheck, we here in Lake County kind of expressed that we are a different type of transit system that prioritizes dial-a-ride and maybe works a little different, and that we are really doing a pretty good job meeting the needs of our community, which was borne out in the survey. How I have continued to approach that is by, with us being a leader in coordination, we are, for lack of a better term, driving the bus. So we are undertaking projects that make sense to us and that we are pushing forward, so that being viewed as the leader, we're not viewed as needing to make changes or, do a better job. So we are sort of, continuing to write our own path and work well within the region without being told what to do by another agency. And so that's the tactic I have been using. I think it has worked well for us, but I thought it was important to share with the board that that's sort of how I have approached this. And, we are doing a pretty good job coordinating with other agencies. And one of the biggest examples of that is actually another thing I have to talk about, which is our project for Trapeze software with Geauga Transit. We will be going live with this project on January 1st. We've talked about it here and there with the board, but generally what is happening in this project is we are selling Trapeze services to Geauga County Transit. We are being paid for that service, and we are, recouping some of our very high Trapeze expenses by doing this. This is a very supported project by ODOT. ODOT has continuously voiced their agreement with this project and their desire for it to move forward. For us, we have the infrastructure. We already pay the software costs. For us, these are existing costs for the most part. And we are able to leverage the software and technology we have to provide the exact same service to Geauga so that they get a better product for a lower price. So, helping taxpayers as a whole, but then LAKETRAN as an agency recovers some of our costs. So they have already agreed to an annual amount of right around $41,000. You can see the exact price for 2021. That is set to, change over time with the Trapeze contract. We did have to pay an initial one-time fee to Trapeze to sort of split the software, which is a cost of about $9,000. And that's a one-time fee. So this is really a great project for coordination. If there ever was more desire to more closely merge Geauga Transit and LAKETRAN, this would make that much more easy to facilitate. But again, this is allowing us to coordinate with them at our speed in the way we want to do it, versus having an outside agency say, hey, LAKETRAN, you need to go manage the software for Geauga. This is, again, it's all, in my mind, it's been about keeping control of the projects ourselves and coordinating in the ways that we think are best. So that's a lot about coordination. I have one more item, but does anybody have any questions about any of what I kind of just went over about the NOACA plan or the Geauga project?
I do, Ben. This is Denny. The Trapeze, would you give a quick high level, define it quickly, a high level definition of what Trapeze does?
Sure. So Trapeze is the core of Dial-A-Ride. It is the software that we use to schedule customer trips, manage buses on the road, dispatch buses, track customer information, and sort of, it is the software that functionally runs our business. It kind of does, it runs everything for us. And so it is, without it, we would do things with paper. And so it's a pretty significant part of our business.
Does it have the financial component? In other words, is that software also part of the paying for Dial-A-Ride?
Yes, it is the same software that if you log online to schedule a trip for Dial-A-Ride, you're using Trapeze. When you pay for your trip as a customer, it's paid through a Trapeze portal. It is essentially anything that happens with Dial-A-Ride happens within Trapeze. From the first customer contact all the way to when the bus pulls in the garage. And so all of those same features that our customers have access to, Geauga will have access to under, sort of a segregated piece of the software. And so they get a bunch of features and options that they didn't used to have, that they couldn't afford. But we're able to, part and parcel those out. And the way it works is it's based on trips. So we take the total number of trips provided and we do a percentage, and they pay a percentage of our trapeze maintenance costs based on their trips. And so that's how that number was determined.
Thank you.
And how long have we been using trapeze now?
That trapeze dates back to before I worked here. I know we used it while it was DOS based, so it's been quite a long time.
That's been a very long time then.
Does anybody else have any questions before I move to my next thing real quick? All right. So I want to give a quick update. There's still more information to come about this item, but it is about the HEROES Act, which was just recently passed by Congress. It included $14 billion for public transit. The CARES Act, just for reference, included $25 billion. In the CARES Act, LAKETRAN received just under $8 million. If they allocate the funds the same way in the HEROES Act, we would receive $4.4 million. But there has been discussion about the allocation being slightly different and a little bit more complicated, and it has to do with the amount of money received by an urbanized area. So the amount of money we receive will be, reviewed slightly differently. The one rule they have put on it is you can't receive more than 75% of your 2018 operating budget. So under that metric, we would still be set to receive $4.4 million. We could, in that metric, receive up to $5.5 million. Obviously, there's still more information to come from FTA about how the money will be distributed, but we can expect, I believe, to receive some additional dollars from the HEROES Act once the allocations are figured out, assuming everything stays kind of how it is now. But
are there any restrictions on it then?
They've not let us know that yet. I believe they would follow the same process they used in CARES, which there were no restrictions on that money. So basically that is the end of my report. I have space next for Lisa. I'm not sure if you have anything. So Lisa doesn't have a report, so we will jump right into Matt.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to kind of touch on the high points real quick here. Dial-a-ride ridership took a little bit of a dip in October. I equate this mostly to we started charging fares again. I mean, it equates to about 1,000 trips. So we are about 18% down from last year with Dial-a-Ride. Our contracted services, Breckenridge is still climbing, so that's good. They are about 72% down. 3 accidents, no injuries this year. 10 commendations, so that's good. Then complaints. Local routes went up even though we started charging fares, so that was really good news there. We are about 18% down in local routes right now. Not many complaints or commendations, no accidents or injuries. This is all, kind of par for the course for local routes. And then, it looks like I did not put my numbers on there. I did want to point out Route 8 and Route 9. There are 498 trips for Route 8 and 154 for Route 9. So that's pretty good numbers for just starting out in September. A little bit of a dip with Park and Ride, obviously with charging fares again. Equal about less than 100 trips. No complaints or commendations. one accident. And then ridership by route. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Denny does again.
Yes.
Matt, is there an industry standard regarding the location of bus stops for your, your local routes? Do we use some type of formula to determine where a stop goes? And if we do we every couple years or so analyze that and consider additions and removing stops?
Certainly. I wouldn't say that there's an industry standard, but there's definitely a method that we use. We obviously aim for higher density locations or points of interest. That's what I look at first. And then every quarter of a mile is usually then after that. So we kind of, when we start putting bus stops in, so kind of in regards Route 8, I'd look at the actual points of interest and then from there go quarter mile stops.
Over time, Denny, that has changed. For a long time, every quarter of the mile was the metric that we used in transit to determine bus stops. Recently, as bigger cities have done system redesigns, they are reducing the number of bus stops to speed up the bus. So it depends on where you're at, but that what Matt mentioned, that every quarter of a mile is a relatively good metric for an industry standard.
Makes sense. One, I noticed just in quickly looking at the routes, when we're talking about east-west, that's obvious. It seems to me 306 and 615 going north-south are we're very well served. But I noticed a gap in Lost Nation. And I would just leave that and tell you guys to take a look at that, please, and see if there's anything more that needs to be possibly considered there, given the building that's going on down there with the new homes and the apartments.
Certainly, can definitely take a look at that.
Thank you.
That was also something, Denny, I don't know if you remember from the public hearings, we did do a little bit of research with the community about more service on Lost Nation, and we didn't get a ton of feedback. We did add some that we didn't have before down serving the Tamarack apartments. But that's something that we can kind of keep monitoring and seeing how additional folks in the community feel about that. I know we have one very passionate Willoughby resident that would like to see the bus travel all the way down Lost Nation to Vine Street. But we just haven't done it in the past, but we will keep looking at it.
That isn't me. I'm not that person.
No, that's not you.
I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. You may recall from past meeting that one of our trainers, Patty Donner, attended a 2-day train the trainer course for CPR and first aid. So she's going to be, well, they've already started training our drivers, and that'll continue throughout 2021. The advantage to that is we don't have to rely on the availability of the Painesville Township Fire Department to come out here and do it in mass groups. 8 selectees are continuing their CDL training. That's to accommodate the demand for additional full-time drivers. Hopefully we will end the year with just 3 recordable injuries. That's the same amount that we had last year. You see what the industry average there is 7 recordable injuries per 100 full-time equivalent employees. We have 185 full-time equivalents in that classification. So the industry standard is 7.2%. We are well below that, 1.5%. And that's all I have.
I just want to interject between Keith and Mike. I talked about our sort of, focus on safety, and Mike's numbers on the BWC really reflect that. We take that pretty seriously, and I'm always proud to see when we have a, injury rate of 1.5%, which is well below the industry standard and, well below our peers in the region too. So that's just, kudos to the good work of our team here.
Is some of that attributable to the training we give our drivers?
It's training, and a lot of it is, sort of a cultural focus. From the moment they walk in the door, safety is the first priority given to them, and it's reinforced all through training. We tell them safety service schedule in training over and over again to, sort of impress upon them that, no matter what you do, safety is priority number one. And anytime you're making a decision, safety is your primary focus. And so, people here believed, they're empowered by safety, and they believe in it, so we start with training, but it's always reinforced, in all kinds of different ways, whether it's annually with their safety bonuses or whether it's just, current events and information we put out to the drivers about how to be safe and how to do things safer. So it's really a cooperative team effort about just making safety priority number one.
Safety committee too.
And yeah, Mike reminded me, we have a safety committee that meets quarterly that, is a very open, anybody can bring anything, whether it's, one of the rules in the maintenance shop we joke about is that, anybody can yell at anybody, which means, if they catch me walking through the shop without the proper PPE, they can reprimand me just like I can reprimand them. And so it's just a lot of small things that equal a big result.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my report's gonna be a little brief, a little update on buses. We had 6 accessible vans delivered. The video equipment has changed since this. It'll start to be installed tomorrow by Safety Vision. The graphics are all completed. These buses should roll out in early January. These are the small vans. Then our chassis were delivered to Turtle Top. They're gonna be converted into the VT3, which is a transit chassis. They'll be running on unleaded gas, and there'll be 4 of them that are converted to the 12-passenger fixed route capable buses running on propane. For those, we plan on bus inspections at Turtle Top in January. And then our vehicle service supervisor started, Robert McCormick. He accepted the job. He managed bus fueling, cleaning, maintenance, and revenue collection with our vehicle service team. He came from Lakefront Lines with 11 years of experience in transportation. He was a working supervisor there. He designed their cleaning procedures for the cleaning crew, managed schedules, and tracked fuel and ordered fuel for them. He was also a school bus operator, motor coach operator, and he worked in the inventory department for parts, not having any parts background. So just shows his organizational skills. And that's it for my report.
I just basically have a continuation of the last month's update. There's no breaking news from the IT side of it. My biggest project I'm working with is a telecom broker for the transit centers and the park and rides, looking to get us better internet access at a better price, and working with them right now. That's all I have for this month.
Good evening. So for the communications department, I'm going to talk a little bit about November and December. Back in November, it is Veterans Day in November, so we always take some time that month to promote what we do for our veterans here in Lake County. And it was actually the 25th anniversary of our medical transportation service. For those, just a little background, LAKETRAN provides free medical transportation to veterans of Lake County and their spouses. That's whether they need to go downtown to University Circle, to the Cleveland VA Hospital, or locally here in Lake County. And then we always provide free transportation on Veterans Day to all of our veteran riders. So that program has kind of gone back and forth. In years past, we've done it for a whole week. Now we tend to do it for a month. We've thought about expanding it. It was, larger earlier on, and it's been cut back, but we definitely see that this is a great, not just because they're veterans and for what they've done, but we always get really good responses from the community when we talk about how we work with veterans and serve them. So it just really puts LAKETRAN in a good spot to be serving and doing things for our veterans in the community. And I know Ben has a lot of support about maybe doing a little more for them. Safety has obviously been top of mind with COVID. We talked about everything that we did as we had to make changes all spring, as there was developments with the virus. But we wanted to take some time and actually talk to our customers about what we've been doing. So we spent about 2 weeks in November really talking and doing a social media campaign about joining Ride Easy Ohio and the APTA program for which we made a commitment along with over, I think, about 175 transit agencies across the country that we would do specific things. We also surveyed our own customers back in early October. We got about 140 responses, and we asked them, what are the most important things that you see LAKETRAN doing? Onboard masks was high, so we still have our PPE stations on board all of our route buses and our commuter buses. Vehicle sanitation was high, so we really wanted to remind people that we're still doing that daily to keep the buses clean. So we took out, some photos of our mechanics and the electrostatic static sprayer that we use daily. And then masks being worn. I don't have a photo of it, but Matt has now used the destination sign to remind people that masks are required. We really just want to continue to push the communication that LAKETRAN is taking this very seriously, and that public transit is a safe space for people to be in during the pandemic.
How did you survey the riders?
The gist of the survey was we really wanted to talk to some of the route bus riders, specifically Route 1, since we added that additional line. We wanted to have some monitor it. So we had a driver go out and distribute the surveys on board buses and then bring them back, and then we import them into SurveyMonkey.
Okay, so this was largely the fixed routes.
Yes, mainly just on the fixed routes, yes. We also, if you see in the slide, we added a sanitized gate, kind of like what you'll see in public restrooms when you're around the community, where you're like, oh, good, the bathroom's been cleaned recently. So people can see the last time that the bus was sanitized, which is being done daily. In that survey, like I said, mainly fixed route customers, we were very excited to see that 98% felt safe or very safe on board our buses. And again, this was taken in early October. I also want to talk a little bit. Yep.
This is Lane. I think we do a good job for the veterans, but my suggestion is let's include veterans in our mission statement, because I think they're probably some of the most important people we have.
I think that would be a board discussion. That'd be up to the board.
Yeah, Lane, this is Ben. I completely support that idea. I think, it's very important that we serve the veterans the best we can. And I think that that's a decision the board could make, but if that's something they're interested in, I can certainly put an action item on the agenda in the next month or so.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
I would support that, Ben and Lane.
I think that is we will put it on the January agenda.
Okay, good.
Back in October is when we began collecting fares, and we also did a BOGO, a buy one, get one free for our Easy Fare to encourage people to transition to Easy Fare, and we have kind of branded it as a safer way to pay that allows us to remove our drivers from the fare collection, as well as really stop having people handing cash and kind of standing by the fare box longer and allowing people to kind of board quickly and help with the social distancing. So traditionally, when you look back at February of 2020, it was about 85% of our Easy Fare users were our park and ride customers. And so we were very excited to see that in October, our fixed route sales had increased over 75% compared to the February. Our individual ticket sales for our fixed routes were up 52%. We sold 3 times the amount of all-day passes compared to February. and even our fixed route reduced fare, which we had very few reduced fare customers that pay the reduced fare, that seniors or people with disabilities on our fixed routes using the easy fare. And so we had a 30% increased sales. We also had in June started launching our work with Uber, Move It, and Transit app. Those are our partner agencies, and we're seeing an increase in sales from those partner apps too. So that shows those partners are working. It sounds that if I said easy fare sales are down 40%, that might sound negative, but really I look at that as a positive, because if ridership on our commuter express buses is down 85%, I would see that number to be a lot lower, but that just shows that there's more fixed route customers coming to easy fare. And our website sales are down. And again, I look at that as a plus because we have more people transitioning to the new technology. Transit Go is a new program. You've heard about the Paradox Prize grant funding, that $75,000 we got from the Fund for Economic Future. We initially were going to be doing a program with CRT, helping students get to an internship opportunity, which was not able to happen this summer. And the fund reached out to us and said, hey, is there another way we can start spending those dollars? They kind of want some results. And so we have started to offer free fixed route to employees who are using the bus to get to and from work. The way that program is operating is we are working through employers. The employer needs to sign up. We launched it right around Thanksgiving, and we're really going to push it starting the beginning of the year, but we do have Marks already interested. We've been in contact with their regional directors, which is great. Menor on the Lake along Route 8 was actually the initial store that came with interest in it. And then Zoop, which is a Menor restaurant, and the county, and a couple others. So we've had a couple of first introductions. We're going to work on getting maybe some partners and working through the chambers in the beginning of the year to kind of make it a more robust program. And then this is kind of a unique opportunity that LAKETRAN has, since we're going to be retiring our fixed route fleet this year. I've always seen programs throughout the country where they really like to use their buses as actually public artwork. And it's obviously there's the cost of the wrap, but there's also the repair you have to do to the vehicle when you remove a wrap. So it's kind of been a challenge to kind of justify the cost, but we thought that with the buses retiring, it would be a great opportunity to do it. So we have launched it. We originally launched it to high school and college students, but actually we've got a lot of requests from middle school. So we opened it up to middle school as well. So we actually got my first design received today. And so though we will be accepting design till January 11th, and then we will pick a winning design, and one high school or college student in Lake County artwork will be displayed for 6 months up until the retirement of the vehicle in 2021. So they're kind of excited. The theme of the contest is Lake County Pride, so Remarkable Lake County, as well as the Fine Arts Association and our design team with Blackbird are helping in partnership with it. And just updated, Avery Dennison is going to donate all of the bus wrap materials because they wanted to be part of the project as well. And last but not least, I always like to say if we've had won any awards. Ben talked about employee recognition earlier, and I think this event kind of brought this to light. We had 2 employees receive milestone awards from the Ohio Public Transit Association. That's their executive director, Matt Carl, in the top left, and Senator Eklund and Representative John Rogers actually both stopped by to congratulate Jody Zilke and Cheryl Brady on 30 years of service. LAKETRAN also was the winner of the Fast Track Community Service Award for our grocery program. And that's a program that's done through Lakeland Community College. And then this is the first time we've ever been recognized. There's through the Green Garage Contest, and it's a nationwide contest which they like to recognize fleets as well as bus garages. And so we're first-time applicants. They say it's very rare that a first-time applicant would receive, would be acknowledged in the top 10. They even made Keith give a presentation at the award ceremony. So I just want to congratulate our maintenance department for being number 8 out of a top 100 cleanest, environmentally friendly garages in in North America. So congratulations to our maintenance department. Hopefully we'll get go a little higher next time once we start with the electric buses. I think we'll have a lot more to brag about next year, and that'll be with winning the fleet competition.
Who sponsors it? green garage
It
contest?
is called, it's, there's a couple universities and other teams that do it, and it's called the 100th Best Fleet. And so they used to just really promote green fleets. And then this year they expanded the contest to green garages, but it's America's 100 Best Fleets. It's the name of the program. It's definitely some bus guys who really enjoy it, but there's a couple colleges that are participant as well as vendors. But they seem to have a lot of participation, and we were encouraged to apply by Clean Fuels Ohio. They had reached out to us and asked us to apply. We had won their Green Fleets Award. We are a 3-star Green Fleets Award winner. There is a 5th-star designation that we are going to aim to achieve once our electric buses are in operation.
Are there any Ohio colleges involved?
No, this was specifically in North Carolina. There's a program, just kind of like how we have our program with records, that's transit. There's a specific program that's run out of, I think it's University of North Carolina, and it's about efficiencies in bus operations.
I see. That's interesting.
Um,
I'm surprised we've never heard about that one before through APTA.
That's it.
All right, well, I will keep this short and sweet. I'd like to highlight the work we've been doing to prepare for our triennial review. Every 3 years, FTA reviews and evaluates the performance of transit agencies. Our review was originally scheduled for August of this year, but was canceled due to COVID-19. And typically the reviewer comes on site and meets with every LAKETRAN department, but we will be transitioning to an online or remote web conference to conduct our triennial review. FTA hires contractors to perform the reviews, and our review team is from the DMP group. I've actually met our reviewer at a training I went to for disadvantaged business enterprise. So I've gotten to meet him and talk with him, and he seems very easygoing. So I'm hoping we'll have a very good review, seeing as this is my first triennial review with LAKETRAN. In preparation, myself and my fellow directors compiled many documents and files and submitted them to the DMP group. And beginning in February, we'll begin the triennial review process. So in the months to come, I will have some updates for you. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So when exactly will the triennial review take place?
Between February and June of 2021.
And will it still cover the same period of time as if it had been done in August?
That's correct.
Okay.
Real quickly, I want to also say one of the things on Andrea's list you'll see in the procurement section is the RFQ for grant consulting services. So an RFQ is a request for kind of qualifications. This is not something we have decided if we want to move forward with or not yet. But as we look at revenue streams for the building, we are trying to look at some, places that we don't always traditionally get funds. So we are considering, pursuing a little bit of consulting services to help us identify some other areas. We don't really know if we need it yet. We kind of want to see what the companies respond or what the people respond with ideas before we make a decision. But that is specifically focused around, where could we find potentially some additional revenue for the building? So that's why you don't see it on the 6-month look ahead, because we still haven't decided if we want to do it or not yet. But we are sort of in the evaluation process if that's maybe of some value to LAKETRAN. If we decide it is, we would obviously come to the board and ask for approval of whatever that may or may not end up being.
Thank you. At this time, is there any old business in the room? Any new business? At this time, is there a motion to adjourn today's Board of Trustees meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Schiavone, seconded by Ms. McNamee. Vicky, if you could please call the roll.
Martin? Martin? McNamee?
Yes.
Montrella?
Yes.
Schiavone?
Yes.
Sheets?
Yes.
Spence?
Yes.
Martin, yes, also.
Okay, everyone. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday, and we'll see everyone next year.
Same to you. Take
All
care.
right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.